Are tags back? Are we bringing tags back? Because if so, I'm very excited. I've been tagged in a Booktube tag for the first time in what feels like ages. So I'm hoping that this is the sign that Booktube tags are back, that we're all going to do them again, we're going to tag each other again. That would be great because, to be honest, that was half my content before tags seemed to go out of fashion on Booktube, and I love having video ideas just handed to me on a plate. I have been tagged by Alex from What Page Are You On and Nathan from Nathan's Nook to do the Booktube Backlist Tag. If you're not subscribed to either of those people, please go do so right now. Alex, of course, is a staple of Booktube. He is one of the greats, and Nathan is a newer Booktuber who just makes the best reading vlogs. He combines these amazing aesthetic shots of all this incredible art that he goes to in Stroll with very, very insightful reviews of the books he's reading. And he's also just a delightful person, so definitely go subscribe to them if you are not already. So this tag is about looking back at your back catalogue of videos and sort of talking about your favorites. There's only 2 questions. The first question is, what's your most popular video on your channel and how do you feel about it? I actually talked a little bit about this in my Booktube anniversary tag video that I did a few months ago, but it is the Letterboxd movie tag, which I uploaded in 2018. That's a tag I made up with questions around the app Letterboxd, which, if you don't know, is a movie logging website very similar to Goodreads, and I had a lot of fun coming up with the questions for that tag. I'm assuming it's the one with the most watches because it has the word Letterboxd in it, and that's something that people will be searching out even if they're not watching Booktube videos. That's kind of the case for all of my videos that seem to get the most views, is that they're not really related to Booktube in any way. They're definitely all videos that other people have just found by searching for things. I obviously watched it in preparation for this video, and I think it's still a fun watch, but I would have quite different answers, I think, to some of the questions now. So the second question is, what 5 videos would you suggest to someone who has never been to your channel before? So this kind of led me down a rabbit hole of watching some of my old videos. It's a weird experience doing that because, I mean, a lot of my videos are pretty clunky. You know, there are some people who make videos and they've clearly just monologued the whole thing. There are no edits anywhere, and they can somehow talk non-stop without any pauses at all, which I find so impressive. I can barely get out one sentence without needing to pause and think about what I'm going to say next. You know, it just means my videos have to have a lot of edits in them to make them coherent, and it means you're never going to get that naturalistic flow that a lot of other people are able to get in their videos. So yeah, even though I feel like I've hopefully got a bit better at that, I wouldn't necessarily recommend other people watch most of the videos on my channel, to be honest, partly because they're all very timely. I mainly just made wrap-ups and yearly favorite videos, and then a lot of tag videos as well. And then yeah, secondly, I wouldn't necessarily recommend them because I feel like I come across as super awkward. Also, watching back on old videos, my hair is so curly, and I'm like, how did I get it that way? I feel like it doesn't curl as much anymore, and I don't know what I'm doing differently now. I don't know whether I can make it go back to the way it was. So anyway, it was quite easy to narrow down the videos that I would suggest because I only really want to suggest ones from the last year or 2. Firstly, I would recommend my Jane Austen ranked video because it was very fun ranking Jane Austen's novels. I reread them over the course of a year, I think it was, and then did a final ranking because I hadn't read her books in actually quite a long time before then. And I feel like I actually don't talk about classics as much as I should on this channel, purely because I've read all of them when I was a teenager. So I read all the big ones long before I ever started a Booktube channel. I love talking about classics. They're the books that I get most excited about dissecting and deep diving into. Jane Austen's stories are ones I probably know the most about, not because of reading them, but because of watching the adaptations. So I feel like I just come from a place of knowledge more than any other books that I talk about on the channel. For anyone new, it would be a good introduction to the fact that I love classics and love Jane Austen. The second video I would recommend is my favorite fiction books tag. This was a tag where you had to talk about your 10 favorite fiction books, but they had to be from the 21st century, which was a really fun challenge because it did make me realize that I actually hadn't read that many books from this century, weirdly, at the time anyway, and certainly not ones that I would consider my favorites. So I feel like this is a good introduction to show my taste in more modern books that aren't classics, and watching that video now, I still would highly recommend all the books on that list. The next video I would like to recommend is the A24 movie tag that I did recently. That was another tag that was so fun to come up with. I came up with questions surrounding the film production company A24, which is like the hip film production company at the moment. You could literally do this tag with any film production company though. Like, you don't actually have to do it with A24. You could do it with Disney, you could do it with Sony Picture Classics, whatever you want to do. As much as this is a booktube channel, it's also turning into a movie channel because I love movies and I actually watch way more movies than I read books now. You know, I'm lucky if I read 2 books a month at the moment, which, you know, is just not the level of genuinely dedicated booktubers, but I will probably watch at least 2 or 3 films a week. So it just makes sense that I would want to be talking about these films. There obviously is like a film review section of YouTube, and not to be rude to that corner of the internet, because it obviously is its own little community, that's great. But I've watched some of the film review videos and I just find the style of them is very energetic and very loud, and that's just not the videos that I want to watch. You know, part of the reason I love booktube is because it is so quiet and restful and a very chill place to be. In short, I would just love more channels that talk about films but that do it in a booktube style. I really love the video I made called Watching Saoirse Ronan's Favorite Films. That was so fun to make. It's as it says on the title. I watched 3 of Saoirse Ronan's favorite films, or ones that I found on the internet that she'd said were her favorite, and reviewed them, and it was just so fun. I hadn't seen the films before. They were really diverse, really interesting films, and I've been meaning to make more videos like that, like trying to find other actors' favorite films. I just think that's so fun. It's absolutely a video that I would click on if I hadn't made it, so that's one of the reasons I want to recommend it. And lastly, I would just recommend any of my recent reading vlogs because they're probably videos that I'm going to keep making because they are really fun to make. I love having a place where you can just put random videos that I've shot throughout the month of just, you know, birds and clouds and things that I see around the place, and being able to just like slot them in between me talking about books. It's just like my dream style of video, and I'm so glad that reading vlogs are a thing now because I enjoy them so much. So that's the end of the questions. I'm going to tag Agnes Belger, and if you're not subscribed to her, please go do that. I feel like we have very similar reading tastes and I love listening to her reviews on books. She also has 2 very cute cats that make an appearance, so worth subscribing for cat content as well. And if you're watching with a booktube channel, I also tag you to go do it as well. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.